Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Henry Woodman, and I'm so happy you are here. How are you doing today?
Excellent. I am happy to be here as well.
Oh my goodness. Let me introduce you to the audience. You are a graduate of the University of Arizona for your bachelor's and Nova Southeaster for your MBA. And you speak three languages. You have to tell us more about that: English, Spanish, and
French.
oh my goodness, it's French. For me, it's English, German, and French. Okay, so we have two
Wow.
languages already. Now, you formed the WoodMark Productions to pursue two of your passions, film production and travel. After a decade of travels, and this was in 1984, right? I skipped that part. You settled in Santiago de Chile for 2 years to produce Machos. Machos, you say this? Machos?
Machos. That's correct. Yes.
Okay, I can only guess. It is the local game show for the younger demographic. And then you did in 1997, you founded World Travel Vision, a content provider for internet travel and tourism that morphed into ICE. You say ICE, not ICE,
Yeah.
right?
I just say ice portal.
ICE Portal, a technology that helps hotels and resorts manage and deliver their visuals to thousands of online travel related websites. And now I stop the introduction reading because you can tell us more about yourself and what inspired you. Okay, you combine two of your passions, travel and movie filmmaking. You combine
Wow.
this inspired you, and what inspires you now every day?
I think, well, I'm inspired every day that I wake up and I'm still alive. That's very inspirational. I think that I don't look at it as inspiration as much as I do as hedonism and opportunistic, right? Because when I was younger, I thought, wow, travel. Yeah, I like to travel. That's fun. And, I don't want to sit behind a desk and, work in a office. Yeah, I want to do film production, right? Now, originally, I went to Los Angeles thinking I wanted to produce and direct movies. Of course, that didn't happen. And so I started working on travel films as what's called a PA, a production assistant. And you have fun, you're young, you travel, it's exciting, you're up long hours, but you get to see different places and you go with crews. So, for me, it was very sort of hedonistic. And, that led to traveling around. I ended up in Chile doing a travel film, and Chile converted from Pinochet's dictatorship to a democracy, which added more television stations and a new network. And as a result, I thought, ooh, here's an opportunity. They need content, right? So I packaged an idea. That idea kind of ripped off from another show. And I went down to Chile and I met with the production company I knew, and we set up a meeting with the new network. And I said, here's the idea. And they loved it. So, a couple of months later, we were on the air with Machos, which was focused for the younger demographic, right? And I thought I would just set it up and go, but I stayed a little bit longer. I loved Chile, and that was kind of the idea behind opportunity or hedonism. And so I don't look at it and go, what am I going to do to make the most amount of money in life? No, what am I going to do that will sort of make me happy?
Yes, this is so important. And while you were speaking, I'm I also love I also love traveling, and I'm finding out now. Of course, I can record podcast episodes all over the world. I'm traveling the world by podcast making by my guests. And fun fact, I read you live in a city called Hollywood in Florida. So I was
That's there right
confused.
now. That's correct. So when
Yeah.
I travel internationally and they say, where are you from? I generally say Miami, because if I say Hollywood before I even get the word Florida out, I'm all of a sudden in with LA movie stars and stuff, right? So I live in Miami for most international folk.
Wow. So it's not far away from Miami.
No, well, Hollywood is between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. So now I know where to go when I visit the places I travel to with my podcast interviews. Thank
Exactly.
you so much. Next question is, who inspires you? Do you have coaches or mentors? And which was the best, who was the best coach you ever had?
Wow. The reality is, I think coaching is, like been raised by a village. And that, I mean, like when somebody says, what's the inspiration? That old saying that you're the average of the five people you hang around with, it's kind of my life. I try to associate with myself with people that are achievers and successful and have that mindset, if you will. I don't know that I would point to any singular person except maybe a guy named Bill, who was sort of my mentor in a lot of ways. I thought he was an awesome businessman and leader, and often took inspiration from him. But at the end of the day, I think most people will find that, if you hang around with people that have very little ambition and just want to hang around, sit on the couch, eat chips, and watch TV, then that's what you're going to be. If you hang around with people that, are more interested in moving forward and getting a better life, then you too will fall into that.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I know the Bill you mentioned. He's a billionaire, right?
He, he, he does well. Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
I heard about him, but I think there are many billionaires out there, or
Sadly,
billionaire bills out there. Yes.
yeah.
Thank you so much for, yeah, this is amazing what you said. The 4 or 5 people you hang around with, it's like when you surround yourself with 4 billionaires, you become the fifth, This is so
Yeah.
amazing what you said. How do you inspire other people?
I think more than telling people, oh, this is what you should do, because nobody listens, it's walk the walk, right? And it's really hard to do. It's very frustrating for people who see people they idolize, if they will, and they talk about the things that they should be doing. And then they find out, well, they weren't doing that at all. They were just saying it to get some money or to be a consultant or things like that. So I think the reality really is, instead of telling people this is what you should do, which is nice, this is what I do, right? I have certain things that I do mentally, that I do physically for discipline, that kind of keep me somewhat focused, right? Nobody's perfect, right? Nobody should ever say, I know the answers to everything. And if they do, run the other way.
I was one of those people. But yeah,
At least you look back and you realize it. Yeah.
yes, I realized this, that it cannot be the truth, because that way I don't learn anything anymore. And this, yeah, this is a boring life. So
Yeah.
now I started the podcast journey, and yeah, I'm so grateful for that, meeting people like you, for example. Okay, thank you so much. Next question is, what are your gifts and talents? We talked about the movie making. Where is the difference, by the way? I asked someone, but I don't remember the answer. Where's the difference between film and movie?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to.
Mm.
I'll answer that, and then I'll get to the what I'm up to, if you will. So, film is just a medium that you use to record something, whether it's a movie, a TV commercial, or a series on TV. Film is the celluloid thing. Now, I think many other people are converting to digital stuff. And a movie, in theory, is a long version of a story on a big screen, or even TV and streaming now. Now, I already
Okay.
forgot what you asked first.
What are your gifts and talents?
Oh, my gifts. Oh, yeah. See, memory is not one of them, obviously. Um, I, you know, I think that at the end of the day, it is structure and tenacity. I'm gritty, and the mindset. So I don't like to quit. I don't mind pivoting. I don't mind admitting when things didn't work out and find something else, but I will not give up.
Wow. You know what I do? I study Think and Grow Rich every day, 30 minutes, one page per day. And today was the page 151. It says, winners never quit and quitters never win.
Sure,
It
that
was
whole
the sentence we have to, it is what you just said. And we have to, the task in the book was to write it down in big letters, huge letters, and put it on the wall, you
but
know.
I'll also add to that is like, you know, winners never quit and quitters never win. But you kind of know it's not a matter of quitting, but it's a matter of pivoting, because people who say, damn it, I'm going to make this work. And it's, you know, like I'm now doing DVD copies because I know a guy out of business and he was doing replication of DVD. Well, that went out years ago, right? Those are the types of things where you go, you know what, the world has changed, technology has changed. So maybe I need to pivot into something that, you know, is not dying, if you will, you know, renting videos in Blockbuster, for example, right?
Yes, I heard about that. Yes,
Haven't
they
we
missed
all?
the chance to buy Netflix. Was it
That's
that
right.
something?
That's right.
Yeah, something like that. And I love what you said about persistence, and also like quitting or failing is just a false estimation of time it will take. You didn't say this, but it was in your mind. It was, I translated in my language, to understand and to repeat, because repetition is the key as well. So yeah, technology and pivoting, it's something I don't like so much when I see other people pivoting and I have to adapt. I, of course, never stick to the plan, always to the goal, right? And we focus from the goal. So what are your goals for the next 18 months, let's say?
Got it. Let me, I'll tell you what the goals are, but first I want to say something about pivoting, because when I started World Travel Vision, it was really a production company where I would take these 360-degree virtual tours, because I went from travel films to, wow, I can do a digital 360 tour of a city or a hotel room and people could see all around. To me, that was the coolest thing ever, right? And eventually, hotels and destinations would say, how do we get this stuff on this new World Wide Web thingy? Right. And I'm thinking, huh? Send them a CD-ROM. But the reality was, when the internet came along, pictures were not as they are now. They were not on all these travel sites, right? They had a problem with that. So therein lies the opportunity. Now I go from, I can produce the content or I can help distribute the content. And so I pivoted World Travel Vision into Ice Portal, which was delivering the pictures of the hotel. So if you go on any travel site today and you see pictures of the Wyndhams and the Hyatts and the Hiltons of the world, they would all have come from Ice Portal, obviously. So they needed to size tag and categorize. So that's why the pivot helped realize this is where the world is going, and this is the need or the opportunity and the problem that I'm going to solve. So what am I doing now? So when I sold my company a couple of years ago, I decided I would go full circle. Many years ago, I bought the rights to a book my dad, not even a book, a manuscript my dad had written 40 years ago. My dad passed away 14 years ago. And I thought, this would make a great movie. And that never happened, of course, until now I've sold the company. So now I published the book. It's called The Reincarnation of Marie. And the book is then going to be developed into a television streaming series. So, sort of a look onto, do soulmates exist? Is there such a thing as karma? What are the lives of the people in a previous era, and those same people reborn, if you will, or reincarnated? How are they affecting us in our current lives, right? So it's kind of a paranormal romance with historical fiction. And so the goal now, because I don't think anybody should really retire and their mind goes to mush, is to do something, if you can afford to, that you have a passion for. It's not so much about the money at some point, but something that I enjoy and something that I really want to do. And, it was the dream 40 some odd years ago. So time to get on it.
Wow, I love it. And when you said, so your answer was too folded, or two, there were two subjects now about, first of all, the content. In, we know this, all the websites were static when they appeared. Web 1.2, no, not one, I know the Web 2.0
1.0.
appeared in 2007. Let me say this way. And when my kids, kids are laughing all the time when they are laughing about older people being in the internet, for example, I always say, like, who do you think filled in all the information into Google that you can look it up now? It was our generation, and now you confirmed it with the travel uh, movies, or travel, yeah, documentary, whatever. But I can imagine, because I lived at that time and in the internet as well. And now about the movie, or the idea, your father's manuscript, right, about the book, and you publish it. What do you mean by just the word streaming? Because you said a streaming TV show or something. Streaming is for me related with internet, like 24/7 streaming channel. And TV show, what is something, it appears every day or every week?
Sure.
What?
Yeah. So, back when I thought, oh, I wanted to produce and direct movies, and I got the book and I thought, oh, I want to make a movie, it was in the early 80s, right? So it was very limited on what you could do unless you had an agent and you go to one of the few handful of studios that control the distribution of those movies. Well, no, there weren't a lot of options. Now, fast forward into 2024, we end up looking at the world with tons of options and even niches for people who want specific things, whether it's horror or romance or supernatural stuff. So streaming, to answer your question, is really the ability, like Netflix or Amazon Prime or Apple TV, where I can go on a device or even my TV, and I can watch a movie on demand or a television series. And so, it can be, 1 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning, and I want to watch a movie. Boom, I click it, and there it is on demand, and it's streaming into my TV set or my computer in real time.
Streaming is something I choose the time, and when we talk about TV show or something, it appears. I didn't know the difference. For me, everything is already here. I click and then I command. And I don't know about the American television system. And myself, I don't watch television anymore, like, the program, the news or something. I don't like this, so I choose what I want to watch and when. Of course, streaming, I know now what streaming is. Let's stream. Okay, thank you so much. I have one last question for you, but I don't. I'm very fascinated by the project you are doing now. About, yes, and maybe we can put the link as well in the show notes. People can look
Great.
at it, check
Yeah.
you out, and please connect to Henry. He's amazing. One last question for you is, when people reach out to you after listening to this episode, do you have special offers or services to the Inspired Podcast community?
Wow. I really, to be honest with you, I coach small businesses, but that's not something I do regularly. It's just on referral basis because I think I want them to not make the same mistakes that I made in building a business. But at the end of the day, it's more of doing what I like to do. I travel a lot, and then, putting together this project. And thank you for putting the link to the website on, because it talks about the book and then the project. But at the end of the day, obviously there's the book for sale, but I don't have a discount code for that. And then there's the coaching I just do from people that are friends and say, listen, I need help. Small businesses generally under $5 million.
Mhm. Yes, understood. So let me ask it, put it in a different way. How can people help you? What do you need?
Whew. Yeah, I think if people have questions, they can always ask. But I think the only thing that I would love is if they look at the book, read it, and give it a good review, or give it a review, give it an honest review. But I think they'll love it because it is one of those, it's a short, passionate read that you start to think, wow, are, are we, is there anything else here? Is this all we have? Do soulmates exist? And if they do, do we have soulmates? And, because this is a conversation a lot of people have, right? And we sort of think, okay, there's religion, some afterlife thing, or there's reincarnation. Okay. Or is there multiverses, or is there time travel? There are a lot of spooky things that we don't know. So this kind of touches on the subject that the person that is, if you will, your soulmate may have lived before, and how do you find them now, or do you find them now, or is everything copacetic now, meaning do we have some karma to work out, and that whole adage, love and hate is two sides of the same coin. And so there's a lot of open questions. The book is very simple and linear and passionate, whereas the series dives much deeper into those questions.
Wow, I'm scared now. The
Well,
title
yeah,
was
not to scare you, but really to open your eyes and start to think, okay, yeah, what else is there, right?
yeah. There's something else. I feel it. Reincarnation of Maria, was it the title?
It's, yeah, the reincarnation of Marie.
Marie?
Marie.
Oh,
Marie. It talks about a woman who actually existed. Her name was Marie Bashkirtseff. In the late 1800s, she had written a journal from 14 to 24, and she died at 24. The journal, and she was published, her journal 2 years after her death, and it became an international bestseller. It was called the I Am the Most Interesting Book of All. And she journaled for 10 years and talking about things that at the time, in the late 1800s, women did not talk about, sexuality and masturbation and virginity and things like that. That was like new, right? And so what happens is, almost a century later, a guy picks up the book, he reads it, he falls in love with her from her journal. And then he realizes, oh my God, I've lost my mind. I've fallen in love with a dead woman, right? And finds her reincarnation. So Marie Bashkirtseff is actually a real person. Her paintings are in museums around the world. And her book was, like I said, like a bestseller, over 100 years ago.
wow. I love that you pointed that out because when you first, I have to admit, when you first said, I thought about the Maria in the Bible, and I found it interesting.
No,
I don't know which Maria.
No, and Marie Bashkirtseff, she was also very adamant and at her age, somewhat of a feminist, meaning she wanted to break through the artist world where it was a man's world. Women just, no, 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 we don't allow you into this art school and places like that. And she was very vocal about that. So early on, she was a believer in equal rights. So she was a strong personality.
So important. Thank you so much for doing this for all the women. And now it's time, before I start to cry, now it's time for your last message to the audience, please.
Thank you, Caroline. Don't cry. Read the book, then you'll cry.
Who knows? Is this your
My,
last message? No.
my last message: read the book and then cry. No, you know what? I don't know that I have a last message besides, you know what? Your thoughts create your life, and it's as simple as that. Hang out with people that inspire you, and you will become like that. And try not to stress about the past and dream about the future. Live in the present, and your thoughts will make your life. That's it.
This was the best message I ever heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And see you in the next episode.